Hey, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be talking about how to get out of difficult conversations, particularly hot button topics like politics or religion. Just because someone wants to talk about a subject doesn't mean that we have to indulge them. We've all heard the saying, never talk politics or religion, and there's a very good reason why. These kinds of subjects can elicit strong emotional responses, which can quickly become heated and polarizing. As long as everyone's in agreement, the discussion will bring people together. But even a hint of dissension can quickly escalate into a full-blown argument, driving a wedge between people. We all have opinions, but that doesn't mean we have the right to impose those beliefs onto others. We all have a right to think and feel what we want, but we also need to respect the fact that other people have that very same right to think and believe what they want. If it's unlikely that we're going to come together on a subject, then we need to be mature enough to agree to disagree. But for some people, that's not a satisfactory outcome. Their goal is not to exchange ideas. Their goal is to convert the non-believers or browbeat them into submission. Honestly, people who adopt this kind of attitude, this us versus them, you're with us or against us, that's a huge red flag for me to exit the relationship in its entirety. This is not a person who has a healthy understanding of where they end and you begin. Today, there seems to be an ever-growing number of people who've developed a sense of belonging and identity from their political affiliation. Some of these people are fanatical zealots who feel compelled to share their beliefs with everyone and anyone who will listen. They view and process the world through their political lens. Others are just dull, boring people who don't have much going on in their life, but they still want to feel a sense of belonging and have something to talk about. Personally, I find it incredible that some people have elevated these mere mortals to a godlike status, as if they're going to lead us to the promised land, fix all the ills of society, and make everyone whole and prosperous. Frankly, I'm sick of being constantly preached to and bombarded with these political messages. Today's politics have bled into almost every aspect of society and culture, and it's becoming harder and harder to get away from it. Let me just say, people are free to believe whatever they want for whatever their reasons. But that doesn't mean that I need to take up their cause or suppress my beliefs in order to placate them. I myself have had to sever ties with several people who continually push their agenda rather than respected my boundaries. So what can we do to avoid or curtail conversations that we don't want to be a part of? As my old manager used to say, always have a few arrows in your quiver. Now, the key to killing off any unwanted conversation is to not offer it fuel or encouragement. Deprive it of attention and energy. So if the unwanted subject is on email or text, I just ignore the parts that I feel may be contentious or baiting me into a situation I don't want to be in. Instead, I focus on the areas that I choose to discuss. If it's over the phone and I can't redirect the conversation, I'm going to look to end the call. Hey, I'm heading into a store or a meeting. I need to charge my phone. Someone's waiting on me. I have to take this call, etc. If it's a close relationship of mutual respect, I'm going to be very candid and simply state, this is a subject I don't care to talk about. And I don't owe them an explanation why. I might say, hey, you know what? I get bombarded with this stuff all day long. I'd much rather talk about what's going on with you. If a conversation turns to a topic that I'm not comfortable with or I don't care about, I'm going to work to change that subject. And I'm going to try to change it into something that I believe they're going to be interested in. I might interject, hey, before I forget, I just want to ask you X, Y, Z. Or, hey, I wanted to get your thoughts on this. And then I let the discussion go off into that new direction. I might politely excuse myself, refresh my drink, go to the bathroom, pretend I have to make a call or check up on something. I have some sort of an exit strategy in case things head in a direction that I don't want to go. I'm going to try to shift the conversation towards them. My father used to tell me all the time that people love to talk about themselves, so encourage them to do so. In fact, psychologists have studied this phenomenon and discovered that people report the most positive feelings towards people and conversations when they're allowed to do most of the talking. Now, very few people really take the time to ask us about ourselves, so use that to your advantage. Say something like, wow, it's great to see you or hear from you. The last time we talked was XYZ. I'd really love to hear what's going on with you. How's your family, work, the kids? What's new and interesting? Now, if you can't escape the conversation for whatever reason, maybe you're a captive audience stuck at a dinner table or in the car, then take a tip from my video titled, Nobody Cares What You Think. And instead of being baited into a discussion or getting involved, just deflect the conversation back on the speaker as if you're appealing to their obvious expertise. Say things like, well, I'm not very well versed on this subject, or I don't really follow the news, so I was just enjoying listening to your insights. Or, I'm not really sure, what do you think? And of course, this person's going to gladly take the opportunity to get back up on their soapbox and pontificate further. I might use my body language to gently send a message that I'm not really interested. I might gaze off into the distance, have a closed off body posture, or appear lost in my thoughts. With any luck, they might even ask me what's wrong or what's on my mind. And that's a great excuse to change the subject. Hey, I'm sorry, I just have a lot on my mind. And then I try to redirect. I might show them that I'm not listening by interrupting with something totally unrelated. Wow, these hors d'oeuvres are great. Have you tried the pate? Or, did you hear about XYZ? And then start talking about that subject as if this person wasn't even talking. Now, a good conversation requires two people. It's like volleying a tennis ball back and forth over the net. So in order to kill a conversation, what I'll do is offer as little feedback as possible. I will allow them to shoulder the entire weight of the conversation. I don't offer any feedback or fuel. I use as few words as possible and only when absolutely necessary. I might even use head nods and The speaker's going to quickly exhaust themselves and just out of sheer boredom look for someone else to talk to. I know a guy who can answer any question with 5 words or less. It's like pulling teeth from a bear to get this guy to talk. And it's absolutely exhausting. So trust me, this works. And to this day, I try my best to avoid them at gatherings. So if you find yourself in discussions that you don't want to be a part of for whatever reason, have a few ideas in your back pocket should you need to deflect, derail, or diffuse a conversation. And with that, if you like the content, please take a moment to hit like and subscribe. And as always, new content Wednesdays, 3 p.m. And until next time, thank you for joining me and have a great night.